So best of luck, everyone. It's quite nerve-wracking, but actually this is brilliant. So good luck.
So I'd like to welcome our first team up to present the bridge. Have you got a timer?
Good evening, we're The Bridge. My name is Dennis and this is my business partner Adam. And this weekend we were faced with a problem that a large amount of people do not use the internet. In the UK specifically, their old age pensioners, only about 30% of them use the internet, meaning that they can't access, let alone take advantage of any government services. However, if the government were to go digital by default, they would save between 1.7 and 1.8 billion pounds a year. The reasons for old age pensioners not using the internet are lack of computer skills and equipment costs, as well as access costs being high for the internet and broadband. The concept for our solution started with Adam and I brainstorming how are we going to simplify the internet into small segments, easy tools for them to use. And our idea was to provide those living without the internet the opportunity to both use and navigate the web devoid of its complexities. We implemented this by creating the bridge so that it asks the user a variety of questions, each shown on its own screen, so that there are no complex screens or cluttering. And each answer that the user provides acts as a filter, categorizing the web into smaller sections, which will eventually branch into web pages being shown based on the user's answers, so that the content that they're looking for will be displayed to them without them having to physically search for it.
So the target audience and the delivery media. The target audience are old age pensioners that don't usually use the internet, or they don't have access to the internet. This is because about 30% of all the pensioners actually end up having access through the internet. The delivery media for this will be kiosks, at least for now, and they will be placed in hotspots such as libraries or even retirement homes. The target equipment we're going to use is like iPads, tablets with stands, so they can use it easily. So about the cost and the pricing. The cost of our product is going to be separated into three parts. The first part is going to be the tablet itself. We have done some research before, and it seems that a 20-inch screen for pensioners would be pretty good for the kiosk. It seems to be costing about $250 if we buy it online, but there's also shipping because it comes from America. And then, of course, there's the stand for it, and then the application itself, the web app itself. We are approximately thinking of the total cost of 233 pounds. Well, the expansion strategies, we have a lot in that. We can expand to allow all other age people to use the application, the kiosk itself. And of course, we want to allow access to people with disabilities such as color blindness, loss of sight in general, or even such as deafness, etc. We want to also end up translating the website at the end into many different languages so it can be accessed all around the world.
There have been in past similar projects tackling the same idea of categorizing the website into smaller sections to simplify the use of the internet for old age pensioners and people with certain learning disabilities. However, these projects didn't delve deep into the internet itself and sort of created complex directories which weren't easy to use for these elder people. Now we'll demonstrate our website. If you have any questions during the demonstration, then feel free to ask.
Hey, sorry about that. So at first you get to choose your age group when you reach the kiosk. Then currently we have just for display child, teen, adult, and senior. Of course, we're going to focus on senior for now, but it shows the potential of the idea. Then you can choose an age bracket according to your preferences. So to filter the results according to your preferences.
So for this example, we'll move on to a user that is, for this purpose, 80 years old or above. And then the next screen comes up with the 6 main categories of the internet that we could come up with. So there's shopping, entertainment, eating, so for example, ordering food online or finding restaurants. There's learning tools, there are services in general, for example, search engines, the government websites, or there's socializing, so social media. For this purpose, we'll be using the services sector, and we will be narrowing this down into the government itself.
Then you can choose a service. In this case, we only have 2 for now, but also other categories have a lot of services. You can see how it filters down and narrows down to a few results. And then within the actual service, there are many options. Again, as this is a temporary demonstration, we have a few of them, and we will go with the communal bin issue. Then it should come up with a tutorial. For now, again, we have made a few GIFs in the website showing how to use the actual website that you're going to get redirected after the tutorial. But where we want to end up with this is that the actual website pops up when you click the link, and then we have on-screen tutorials that they can do while our messages are popping up on the website.
So for this website, for example, there are 3 individual steps. So 3 GIFs that have been created for the 3 main steps. So the first part is selecting which council that you'll be using, which for this purpose is the City of Edinburgh Council. And then the next part, this loops over so that if users do not understand it on the first go, they can watch it a few more times. Upon understanding how to use it and being able to implement that on the website itself, it moves on to the next stage, which allows them to choose report the overflowing bin for this purpose. And then the final one shows them which forms to fill in, for example, what they have to put in the forms, what form the data is put in, and just how to report the bin itself. Then the user is presented with an end option which will redirect them to the website itself.
Now this could have been the end of it, but then at the end, if the user is done with what they're doing, it should redirect them back to the original home screen, and then the next person can start again. So no problems with the other person messing with the data, etc.
That is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, then we are happy to answer them.
Could the judges for tonight put your hands up so we can see where you are? Cheers. So I'll take panelists. So we'll take 1 question from each of yourselves and 1 from the audience. So Alexander, did you else?
So where do you see these kiosks
In places such as retirement homes, libraries, which old age pensioners or just elderly people in general frequently use to habit, and possibly also in, for example, residential living areas where a lot of old people congregate, as they usually stay in the same sort of apartment blocks. How we're going to power it. we would do it manually. We do it manually for each individual site, and if that eventually would outgrow us, then we would have to find some other solution. But for the foreseeable future, it would be manually done.
I've got a question. Is there any user to select
Yes. Because the various different there are various different websites that are only relevant for certain users. For example, if you were to select 60 plus, then there probably would not be an online shopping, for example, groceries that would be displayed, because 60-year-olds would still be mobile, would still go into town and do their shopping, they'd be able to carry back their bags. Whereas an 80-year-old person may not have the same ability, the same strength, and might not be able to do that.
There's also the possibility of getting data collection and even further enhancing our website, or even if people are interested in further data, we can even provide them data through our website. So there's also a possibility for monetization there.
Do we have a question from the audience or from any guests here tonight?
Did you talk to any 80-year-olds?
Sorry?
Did you talk to any 80-year-olds?
Yeah, I did. I actually spoke to one person, my grandmother, to see what she thought, and she said that she would use it if it was if she had internet access. So I don't know if she would actually purchase some sort of device to access the internet and the broadband itself, but she would use it if she had that.
To follow up on that? How are you going to make money out of it?
We would collect the data that the users provide, for example, the age range, just which age bracket they fit into, the children, adult, etc., and we would aim to sell this to the companies that we actually advertise when it boils down to the content, when the sites are displayed, and possibly we could collect not so much sponsorship, but we could collect fees from the companies who we show in the content. For example, Tesco if it was groceries.
Does the panel have any more questions before we move on to the next two? Okay, great. Thank you very much, guys. Up next we have Team Socialise.
Hi guys, we're Team Socialise. I'm Jordan.
I'm Dagmara.
And we have come up with the web application Occasion, letting you know where you need to go. So we were also very interested in the idea of digital participation, and also noticed that the OAP demographic is not online very much. We took sort of a different approach though. We were thinking maybe you should analyze the reason why the elderly aren't getting online. And having thought about it just from the most simple point of view was that if you've gotten 40, 50 years through your life without ever having needed the internet, why would you think you need it now? So thinking about it, we thought, well, we need to give them a reason to go online. So a study conducted in the first quarter of 2015 showed over half of the UK who never used the internet were in the 75 plus age group. About 9 in 10 adults had used the internet in the past 3 months, but only 3 in 10 were those in the oldest age group. And we were thinking about it and said, well, old people still want to be social. Old people are just like young people. They still want to hang out with their peers. And having done further research, we even realized, in actual fact, this wasn't just an issue about not wanting to feel ostracized in your community, but even a health issue. So I wanted to give them something they needed. A 2007 study conducted by the University of Glasgow researchers, picked that for you, Scotland, checked 4,000 couples and found surviving spouses were 30% more likely to die in the following 6 months than they would otherwise. There's other studies that have quoted this number up to as high as 60%. And next slide. So Ilan Wittstein, assistant professor at Johns Hopkins, in a study in 2005, concluded that this was due to what's called stress cardiomyopathy, and it's sort of better known by its common term, broken heart syndrome. So this is where the tendons in the heart sort of get weak, and the heart isn't pumping blood around the body as much, and it's just sort of an issue of stress. And how this is relevant is that studies that follow this also suggested the best way to decrease this risk was to have elderly widows and widowers hang out with their peer groups more. So basically feel more socially included. This would decrease social isolation, stress, and the overall risk of death. And this is what Occasion is for. Occasion hopes to address the very first issue that we think the elderly have. So how it works. The very first problem helping the elderly rebuilding their social life is thinking about, well, where do they find their peers? So this is something I was thinking a lot about. Recently, my grandmother's brother passed away, and we were saying to her, well, maybe it's time to get out and hang out with your friends and play bridge more. She said, well, I would, but they're all dead. So it was, sad to hear, and she likes having her family come on and visit. At the same time, she wants to talk to people her own age who have her own interests, and not feel like the old person in the room. So this way we think what Occasion is going to do is make it very, very simple for people to get online, choose their interests, and see exactly what's happening in their community. This is different from other event sites due to its simplicity, as we'll see next. So as you can see here, this is Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is sort of seen as like the top dog of event sites. And if you're looking at it, you wouldn't really know where to start. If you were worried about going on the internet, you would see this and say, you know what, actually, I'm just not even going to bother. It's really complicated, looks intimidating, and it's very, very convoluted. So, imagine trying to teach grandma or grandpa how to get on this. So Occasion is very, very simple. We're breaking it down to selecting a few of your interests, hitting go, and then from your GPS from the app on your phone or the IP address, you'll be able to figure out where you are, and the next point after hitting go will tell you what events are happening nearby you. Going towards the business side, dissemination would be considered probably the most difficult part of this. We think reaching our target audience is very possible though, because as we're saying, since the elderly aren't online already, normal sort of current online marketing ideas won't be as relevant. But going to events where they already are, going to libraries where old people are doing internet access courses, going to community centers, like churches, this sort of thing, and be able to talk to these people, say, how did you find out about the events you've gone to, and have you checked out this site or this app? And this is something that you might really find helpful. We found that there was an ONS study, I think I'll brought this up later maybe, that about half of people at the end of 2014 in the oldest demographic now have smartphones. And so this is something that they could use. It is within their ability. And this is useful because instead of obviously going around and chapping on doors and telling someone, here's this app, you'd say, well, you could also just tell them, you know what, here's the events coming up. But then you would have to do that continually, week in, week out, what new events might be happening in the community, whereas they would have this tool to be able to see what's coming up as new events are coming. So revenue, this would be a business-to-business practice. There was ONS reports stating that disposable income for OAPs went up by 5.1%, while for younger citizens in the UK, it fell across the board at 6.4%. Beyond that, this is a top-heavy, aging population. So not only do they have more disposable income, but there are more and more people who are actually in this demographic when you compare it to the younger demographics. So it's sort of an untapped market, untapped demographic for marketing. So a lot of people don't know how to reach these people. And we think that originally starting out with a free model and getting towards our first goal of making sure that the elderly know what's going on in the community and what events are happening is great. But then from there, we would maybe be able to start charging businesses and saying, look, this is a great way for you to advertise. So post-prototype possibilities. Similar to Google Maps, if you go to Google Maps, you can put in that address and find directions to go to the address that you're looking for. And we thought keeping it very simple would be great because this is just sort of more friendly. OAPs are less likely to want to give out information online, so you can just go on, click your interests, find out what's going on. But we could add on another tab that has your username and saves what interests you have, and would be better and faster at predicting what would be good for you. We could also add in booking abilities, so in the back end of the website, adding in payment portals, so you can actually book directly with us, and even things like voice commands to make it even that much easier for someone who isn't comfortable using apps or a website, to just talk to their phone and say, my interests are bridge, barbecues, trivia games, bingo, and hit go. So opportunities for growth, after we establish this first goal of helping the elderly and starting to look at marketing opportunities, we would be able to start expanding horizontally by reaching into younger age groups, and vertically by planning our own occasion events. And down the way, once people have logged in and created their own usernames and logins, they would be able to create their own private events and invite their friends to it. So we do have a prototype, but we're running a little short on time. If you guys want to see it afterwards, that's fine. And for now, any questions?
Our first question from the panel, please.
Thanks, guys. So, I imagine that there's no awareness of the sense of have you thought about how you go through that process to make sure there's enough events there?
Yeah, so to start with, we went around and we were looking on Google what sort of events are out there and that might be relevant to this age demographic. And it was really difficult to find things, but they were there. Even if it's only 5 or 6 events that are going on, the fact that they're that difficult to find, we're sort of bridging that first gap that there is something for them to do. That's the first issue, is that even if there's not a lot out there, there is stuff going on for older demographics, but it's just hard for them to find it. And that's sort of the first gap that we want to bridge.
I was just a good thing. I was like, So, was it 30% of your target market household is
No, it's 70%.
Okay. Do you know how of that 70%, do you know the reason they're not? Is it because they just can't get on? Because they haven't got the or is it because they don't understand or they scared?
I mean, it's difficult to say. The statistic that 50% of that demographic have smartphones would suggest they have the ability to go online. They just probably aren't bothered. Like I was saying originally, our assumption is that, well, if you've gone for 50, 60 years earlier in your life before the internet started becoming a regular thing, and Gen Y starts using it, why would you really feel the need to start using it now? So we're trying to give them something that's easy enough for them to use and that they really want to go online.
I'm interested in the team. So you're going to start articulating the proposition. But who did what?
These are the technical guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were working on the implementation of the idea, so the way it works, but also the design, how to make it simple for older people, how to make it accessible for them, make it a two-step page that would be rid of any clutter that you can never find on the internet, and the overall design.
So you did the design, and then
Development, yes.
you did develop.
So yeah, the web server and database with the events and functionality.
And
I came up with the business model and the plan. So
Do we have a question from the audience? Try not to look at Dan.
you guys want to see?
I didn't want to hold. I think it's really neat. I'm getting older, as you might have noticed. So I'm very glad that you guys are looking at the future and about how you're going to look after me. It is very interesting. I do think you've got an issue about how to get people to access in the first place. I have a very elderly mother, can believe that, and there's issues that she doesn't even know how to switch the computer on. And a smartphone a phone is just a phone for them rather than using it in those days. So you do have all those sort of issues to do it. But it will come.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, there's one more. Sorry.
Did you think about anything like access to the public sector to get to this audience? Because I'm thinking about the fact that these 65 plus may not have access and who you're most likely to be in touch with, which might be the doctors, the healthcare providers. Did you think about anything like connect with?
Yeah. So again, because this demographic isn't accessible as much through online marketing, thinking about old-fashioned marketing methods. So going to places like community centers, do a lot of public courses for helping OAPs get online and learn to use computers. And this might be something that they can show them at the end of the class and say, actually, here's a web app that I can get you to use. Look how simple it is. I might give them more confidence to go on and use something else. So yeah, we'll be finding the right areas where they already are and who has regular contact with them and sort of going the old-fashioned route.
Thank you very much. Next up we have team Rehab Easy. Can you do with that power for the direction?
You probably make the
We'll just figure it out.
I'm just going to show time. I can also look at
Presentation or Q&A?
We'll just keep on But yeah, the only way you can do that is to mirror it.
Yeah, how to mirror your screen. Can we get a picture or something at least? Right. Or just do this. Okay, can you start? Hello everyone, my name is Andrea, this is Michael, and on our team there's also Arisa, but she has a deadline tomorrow, so she's stuck in the library. Alright, Michael would like to give a background.
Yeah, okay, so our target is people living in social housing. So we've found a few statistics in our research that 10% of the Scottish population is in social housing. So that big bar at the top of 600,000 that you see, that's the number of people in social housing in Scotland. The smallest one is people in Edinburgh, and the biggest is people in Glasgow, so that's 108,000, it's the sixth, so it's really large. So we found that people in low incomes are the ones that are living in social housing. And 70% of those were reporting that they're actually using drugs and that they're on benefits. We found that in a report by the Drugs Misuse Act Scotland. And we also found that many people that are on benefits are living in social housing. The access there is just 58%, so we thought that that's potential that we can look at. People, using drugs, living in social housing might be a potential for a product there.
So we thought of a solution to help those people. Our solution is a web app called Rehab Easy. Our motto is put your life back on track using technology. So what exactly is Rehab Easy? It's basically a web platform aimed to help drug users become clean. It allows for easy monitoring of the recovery process for both the drug user and the counsellors that are helping them in their process. We visited a rehabilitation centre named Turning Point Scotland, which is based quite close to here in Leith. They gave us a bit of background on how the rehabilitation process currently works. Basically, there are drop-in clinics, so when users want to become clean, they would just go in and request an appointment with one of the volunteers. Afterwards, they would be prescribed a medication that they would have to go on for a bit of a length of time. For example, if you're taking heroin, you would need to first lower your dosage of heroin, then to go on methadone, lower the dosage of that as well, until you can go on Suboxone, which will finally get you clean. In order to keep track of this, they would have to have daily meetings with their counsellor to make sure that the exact dosage is being taken and that the user doesn't have any relapsing. How our website would work? Well, the user will basically register by going into the clinic. They'll be familiarized with the system and they'll be shown how to use it. Then they would have daily virtual meetings. That is, they go in, they log in, they input their data of their medication and whatever they're feeling. They can also request face-to-face appointments. And then this would allow for continuous counseling without having face-to-face meetings. That is, the counselor can log in and just monitor all the patients without having to see them face-to-face.
Okay, so we did have a few problems when we were thinking about how people might register for this. So, for example, we thought they might not have an email address, so that's one issue that we need to address. How can we get them registered? Can we use some sort of biotechnology? Can we use their fingerprint or facial recognition? So that's something that we've not really established, but we would like to work on. So, hardware is another issue.
Then we try to outline exactly how this web application would improve the current process. As I said, rehab clinics are usually at full capacity because there's a lot of people choosing to become clean. However, there's not enough volunteers in the clinics to cater for all of them. So many of them will not have the opportunity to enter the process without this process being digitalized. Also, this application would allow for continuous counseling because more volunteers will have more free time, therefore will be able to dedicate their time to making sure that their patients are safely following the process.
So how do we plan on implementing it? The idea is there's going to be two sides. So the first side is obviously for the drug addicts, the users. They're going to interact with the system. They can get in touch with their counsellor. They can, check in to say what they've done, say what they've taken, and the idea is they would do that daily, so they get into a routine. The second side is the counsellor. So the counsellor would use that to track each patient. It makes it much more easy for them. It's much more organised. So if they were to see a lapse, maybe someone's not checked in, they can maybe contact them by phone or go to see them. And they would be able to check updates from individual users if they were worried about them. So that's how the sort of, a small demo that we have. What we look at, we've got some login page. The first thing you can see is the login button, so that's for the users, the drug addicts that are trying to recover. And the second part is for the carers, so that's the people looking after them.
Once logging in, a carer would see a dashboard with details of all their patients and the background over there, that's the table there. They would have the name, the substance they're currently on, and whether or not they checked in using the application today. If they haven't checked in, they would obviously contact them and make sure that they're all right. We're aiming to have patients be able to message their counsellors, so you can see the new messages and also the patients that you need to track. We can also provide other notifications, but we need to have more conversations with them on what they would actually need first.
So there is an access problem, as we said. People in social housing don't necessarily have access to the internet or even a device for which, to gain access to the internet. So one of the things we're looking at is, how can we do that? So one of the things you could do is have, like a terminal in a social housing scheme. I know that's sort of been tested in Glasgow and it seems to be quite successful. And also maintaining access points in clinics, so they could go in and use it at the clinic. So in terms of who actually would fund it, we've got a few stakeholders. First, obviously, primarily is the government, because it's in their interest to try and reduce drug use. It's reducing crime, reduces antisocial behaviour, especially in social housing. So it also it reduces costs, the cost of counsellors going to social housing schemes. And there's also potential there for data collection. Now, that would be anonymous, so we don't want to sort of single out people that are addicted to certain drugs, but we could say, so-and-so people are addicted to such a drug and they take this, or, people have actually, gone into clinics and said that they want to get off drugs and how much they're trying to do so. Another thing is they could sort of allocate their resources more effectively, so they could look at which drug actually needs production, so methadone, for example. The other one there is social housing landlords, so obviously it's in their interest to make sure that socializing schemes are, not antisocial. There's less vandalism, there's less crime, and there's safer places to live for people.
And as we mentioned, data might be a very sensitive issue. We can make loads of money by selling the data, but we need to make sure that it's anonymous, because I'm pretty sure drug users would be reluctant towards using this application or just entering the rehabilitation project if they could be in the attention of the police or anything. That's still to be decided on how it's going to actually work. And how can we take this further? Well, we thought we could actually have a moderated chat for recovering drug users to talk to each other, motivate each other, share stories with each other. We visited the cafe run by recovered drug users for recovering drug users, named Serenity Cafe. It's around the Scottish Parliament, and it's an amazing place where people provide support with each other. It's open to any users as well as drug users, and they're very open to have a chat with you and share stories about how being connected with other people helps with the recovery process.
Okay, so that's everything. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll take any questions now.
The first question for the panel, please.
What's the incentive for drug users? What will compel drug users to go? Do you know it?
Not personally, no.
Well,
we did try and meet a few.
The thing is, if a drug user wants to become clean, then they would obviously follow the rehabilitation process. Asking whether or not they will use this service is basically asking, will they actually follow the rehabilitation process as it is now? There's obviously evidence that they do, so we're hoping that by making it easier for them and the counsellors, they'll still do it.
I know it's been maybe 76 hours. Have you had any time to look at any competitors? Or anything else? Is anyone doing similar?
We just have information from talking to Turning Point. They've not mentioned anything. The way they do it is filling in forms and then typing them up into the NHS system.
Yeah, as far as we know, we think it involves a lot of meetings, so a lot of going into centres every single day. That might be a lot of effort, so taking away that, it makes it more accessible for them to do so.
Thank you.
You've talked a little bit about how drug users or people who are trying to get off using drugs might want to interact on the site. Have you explored at all how you might extend this service so that carers in different parts of either Scotland or potentially further afield might be able to collaborate to either improve their skills or to share stories?
This can totally be done. As we can do a chat board for drug users, we can do a chat board for counsellors, and they would be able to share their stories, their problems, and whatever advice they might need. Just ask her there instead of going through phone calls and everything. That takes a really long time. So yeah, I think it could be done.
Question from the audience? Yeah, absolutely.
So, what would stop drug users from lying when talking to people?
What would stop drug users from lying when they meet with a person face to face?
Because they don't do drug tests.
They don't do drug tests. The process works on believing that the drug user actually wants to get off drugs. So it's a bit of mutual trust.
Yeah, we're not saying that they would never see a counsellor in person, because obviously I don't think that would work. They would still do it on an occasional basis, but the idea is that it's more automated, it's more accessible, it's fast for them. So if they're trying to get off drugs, they can get on with other things, maybe trying to get a job. So that's the idea.
Yeah, have you thought about something like an emergency line? Someone's always to know if someone's just holding a plug and just where they are.
Yeah, we definitely think that's something that can be done. And we talked about live chats. You could also have live chats between counsellors and users of the system. So yeah.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Now we have our final team presenting, which is Change Card. Could you get the mic back? Mic. The mic.
You may see the screen there. No.
As much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all speaking. I'll be kind of focused down here.
Yeah, go for it.
You all good?
Yeah, let's go team.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'd like to introduce you to our team and our new product concept, Change Card. My name is Johnny.
I'm John.
And we run the project management, the market research and business end of the project.
I'm Liam, this is Gordon, and this is Pavel, and we are the nerds.
Yeah. So, as a team, we spent a lot of time researching and brainstorming, and we believe we've actually come up with a concept.
I'm really sorry, technically, can you turn the mic on?
Let's start again, everyone.
The mic is on, but I can switch it on and off. That's my only techno. On and off, doesn't work.
Okay, we good?
No, it's fine. Really comfortable. Right, start again? Or? No worries.
Probably no, yeah, we'll take it up from the last point. So yeah, as a team, we spent a lot of time brainstorming and researching, and we believe we came up with a concept that's going to bring some true benefit to society, and it's also very relevant to the theme of digital participation. Let's start off by thanking Product Forge and the sponsors for giving us this opportunity. It's been a really good experience.
Unbelievable.
And in an increasing cashless society, what if we could give you, the consumer, the means of donating to the homeless personally with the assurance that your donation is going to go to good? That's why we're going to bring you.
So as Johnny just introduced us, we are Change Card, a non-profit social enterprise, and we as a team have come together, Product Forge, in the last 76 hours, united in changing the problem of homelessness for the better through the use of digital inclusion. This change will be brought through our idea of the Change Card, a card that will enable you to help the homeless. The Change Card will be a redeemable coupon that you, as a consumer, can buy in a store, then donate to those less fortunate living on the street. This will ultimately allow the homeless to go into stores and buy the goods that they need. Now let me tell you more about our ideas behind the Change Card. So behind me is an image, a piece of socially responsible street art created by the Australian artist Meek in a very Banksy-esque style. Although illegal to vandalise it on the wall it is home to, it provides a powerful message. Giving a homeless person some spare coins just does not go far enough anymore. They can maybe buy it for food, but it can possibly fuel dangerous drug addictions, and it might be those drug addictions that put them on the street in the first place. The fundamental point behind the image is that political and social change is necessary to solve the problem of homelessness. We as a society, governments and private companies must come together, otherwise, around the world, people will continue to live day to day without adequate housing. To make matters worse, we now live in a society where coins, cash and fiat money are becoming of less and less use. Thousands across the globe are using contactless cards and systems such like Apple Pay. Soon members of society such like you and I will not even have the coins in our pockets to donate to those unfortunate in society. So who fights for the man who cannot fight for himself? Who protects those least fortunate in society that rely on this spare change? Our team aims to change that. Our team aims to tackle the problem of homelessness and be part of the change to end it. Hence, we introduce to you the Change Card. I want you to imagine yourself, or cast your mind back to the last time you were walking into a store on the high street. Next to you is a homeless man or woman begging out for some spare coins. What goes through your mind? I only have card, so I can't give him change. I wouldn't want to give him spare change anyway. I might be fueling drug addiction. I could maybe go buy him a sandwich or coffee. Chances are you walked right on by and did nothing. Now, what if you got into that storefront and at the till or at the checkout was a card specifically built for tackling this problem? So it was a redeemable coupon that would allow a homeless person to take this card and go into the store and buy any age-restricted goods. Non-age restricted goods, sorry. We'd just like to add here that we do not believe that all homeless are addicts to drugs and alcohol. I mean, we went out into the streets, went down to Hollywood area, and we met some homeless ourselves, and we know they're not all addicts. And we'd also like to point out that the homelessness problem isn't just those living in the street, and it's a wider issue. But the coupon is purely going to be redeemable in this non-age restrictive fashion to give the consumers purchasing the change cards peace of mind that they're making a positive impact in the lives of the homeless, and of course for pragmatic business reasons. In the short term, the change card will provide the subsistence to homelessness. It will provide them with a means to purchase food and clothing without any physical money being needed in the transaction, and more importantly, it gives the homeless a choice in what they buy. The change card will address homelessness in more than just the short term. It will address the issue in the long term as well. The card has two unique features to it. It is only redeemable once and has an expiration date to it. All money that is not spent on the first redemption or on the card after its expiration will be pooled collectively into what we call our spare change fund. The spare change fund will be used to invest in longer term projects to help support the homelessness problem on a more permanent basis. It will support projects such as like the one shelter carried out within the Edinburgh area, and will also hopefully involve the homeless in learning life skills through e-learning. Hence, as a team, we aim to tackle both immediate issues of living on the street and solve the longer term issues of bringing the homeless off the street and providing only positive impact. Companies who decide to participate through the change card concept will benefit massively as well through the corporate social responsibility opportunity. By leading the path to improve the community around them, they can inspire the rest of society following this change. Through the data gathered from change cards, the government will be able to analyse this and develop better policies to help the homeless in the long term. They can find out how much homeless rely on the generosity of the public, what percentage of the homeless are begging gangs, and just generally will give the government a better understanding into this black economy. Consumers will feel confident that upon purchasing a change card, they're also directly making that positive impact that we stress. They are making that immediate impact of changing a homeless person's day in providing substance for the day, food or water, that they can go into the store and buy themselves and have the choice to do so. Or if that card gets wasted, it expires, or the homeless person rejects it, or they never even donate it and it expires, they know that money is going to a longer term fund to benefit homelessness as a whole. Now, where can consumers see this benefit? That will be online, and I'm going to pass you over to Johnny, who will tell you more about that.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just quickly run you through our website that we've developed over the weekend.
Oh, shit. Sorry, internet. Creative Exchange, which one is it? So events 5.
So yeah, while the internet is doing its thing.
We need the internet for the rest of it.
Just go for it.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'll show what we have on the website next. I'll talk about first what we want to add to the website. As you see when you get to our site, we're going to add an insight section to the website. When a consumer goes into the store and buys a gift card for the homeless, they will get a redemption code as a backstory. I'll wrap up. So they get a redemption code. Might as well tie it back into the other one. Yeah, sweet. Apologies. In the spirit of digital participation, we decided to add a giving wall. Consumers will be able to link their social media accounts with our website, which will allow them to share with their friends that they've been donating to the homeless, because they can take the redemption code that they got from the shop and redeem it online. The guys will give you a quick demo of that in a second. This sustainable and low-cost approach to marketing will allow us to use valuable investment in other areas of the startup as opposed to expensive marketing. Yeah, so I mentioned briefly the insights. So we're going to have maps that's going to track who's redeeming codes and where to see which areas of the country are being the most generous. and where the cause is getting the most momentum. We also have a bunch of graphs and stuff to show this growth as well. John touched on the spare change fund that we're going to have. Every penny is going to make a positive impact. We're also going to draw from the benefits of gift aid. So not only will the £5, oh sweet. Yeah, so a £5 donation can turn into a £7 donation due to the tax. Meaningful projects we're just taken out, like digital participation projects, life skills, and that's something that we'll be able to work with. Charities we'd like to work with in the future include shelter projects like the affordable housing. It's something we really want to get involved with, and the spare change fund will allow us to do this. And I'll pass you over to the guys who made the magic happen, and I'll give you a quick run through.
These are geniuses. Okay, so myself, Pavel, and Liam built the technology behind Change Card. So there are 3 different elements of this. There is the landing page, which you saw, which is going to be effectively a space for kind of marketing the project and talking about it, and a way of interacting with consumers with information about the project. In addition to this, there is the back-end server that will actually do all the transactions, which Liam here has been working on. And myself and Pavel have developed an Android app to mimic a point-of-sale system. So obviously we don't actually have the chip and pin card readers or contactless payment readers or even swipe readers that we need. So I mean, there are different ways we could implement this. We could implement this with magnetic strip technology, RFID contactless payment. What we've gone for is QR codes, just because it's paper, it's very easy to produce, and we can just use our webcam or our phone to effectively scan the card. So there, yeah, I'll get to the big. So this will take you through the kind of 3 steps. So you go to the shop, you're going to buy the card, so you're going to scan the card. This is going to then send it up to the server and validate that card so it's now active and ready to be used. The consumer will then get a receipt with our token on it. They can then take that token home and they can go log in, sign up to this website. Let's get this login. So once they do that, they can then go and check the status of the card that they bought, so they can see whether it's been spent yet, perhaps whether it's expired and it was never spent at all, but the money has gone to the change fund. So it gives them a way of finding out where their money is going, whether it was actually used by the person they gave it to, or whether it went into the larger fund as a whole. So when the homeless person goes into the shop, it'll be the second stage, which is just to redeem the same card. So we scan it once again, and that will basically just communicate again to our system that it's been scanned, how much something was purchased for, which will give us the difference, which will go into the spare change fund. So that will redeem them. Yep, there we go. We're still trying to figure out what other information we could show on this page. There were some concerns about privacy. If we show exactly how much has been spending, is that tracking people too much? How much do we actually want to give away? But yeah. Something for discussion.
Yeah, I know we've gone slightly over. I just want to say quickly, thank you to Product Forge, all the sponsors. In 75 hours, we've got a product we're really proud of. So yeah, thank you for making that possible. And our Twitter handle is @ChangeCardPF.
Thanks.
Now we're open for questions.
First question from the panel, please.
Yeah, I think over 75 hours, what was the biggest challenge you guys faced?
Building an Android app, and none of us have any Android experience. That's one thing.
Replicating a point of sale, we had to kind of think a lot about how we would do that. Business.
From business end,
it's really fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was super interesting.
It's great to work with coders as well. It's the first time.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Guys, it was great. You've talked about the business, and you've talked about some of the changes that could happen. There will be a cost of operating this service, and often there are some sensitivities around charities and the way that they spend the money, and what proportion of donations go to the people that need it. Have you thought about your financial model and how you might
So I guess one of the major costs would be like transaction costs. If we did go with like a contactless payment card, obviously someone's going to have to cover the cost of both producing those and perhaps processing them as well. So we actually thought that perhaps some of the gift aid money, so the additional money on the card, could be used to cover a portion of that transaction fee with every purchase.
In addition to that, we probably aim to partner with a charity and a bank. Probably, like for example, if we partnered with Shelter, go with their partnered bank already. And in terms of companies coming to be on board with it, corporate social responsibility is such a big thing for companies these days. We feel as though banks would support it and the wider society.
Yeah, I would just add as well that we're not under any illusion that we can solve the problem of homelessness. So we're sort of in the business of taking care of the technology domain, and we know we would have to work with people that are experts in their problem domain, whether that be Shelter as a charity or other homeless charities, to help out with that end. And we'd also need some contact with banks and somewhere to put the technology in.
Also like to add, we're not aiming to sustain the homelessness problem by bringing them into the digital age. That's kind of why we introduced the Spare Change Fund. We're trying to make sure that they're not excluded from the digital age, but as well as use the Spare Change Fund to make real change.
Yeah, we're also fully aware that the homeless you see on the street are just a small percentage of the larger problem. But we can not use them per se, but we can help them whilst helping the whole of the homeless problem at the same time. Next question.
I think I've got two questions actually. One is for just strengths that you created, and maybe for good reason, so don't get listen to what I say. A really complicated system, whereas me giving a pound to somebody on the street is spontaneous, really simple.
So,
and you have that in supermarkets where you've got gift cards for 5 years. What did you consider a simple system?
This is as simple as it can get for what we're trying to provide. We're not addressing those who already donate to the homeless, because that's great, on the street. It's targeting people who would otherwise not donate to the homeless. And it's we're using the whole thing, just to raise awareness, I guess, as a whole. We're not only going to be relying on people using the gift cards on the street, we're going to be taking donations on the site, we're going to be working with Shelter, promoting Shelter. We're just trying to improve the whole situation by taking it into the digital age.
Now this is the question for in my notes, my accent, my English, and unfortunately I have to take responsibility for that massive pull up of the branch. Now Nigel Broad is going to get out when he sees yours and go, how do you know it's not with Romanians and Nicky online or what's ridiculous? How are you going to address the specific issue about making sure that money goes to people who really need it?
I would say that's I would say that.
For a start, I'd say screw Farage.
In our own opinion, if they need money and they're on the street for a reason.
Yeah, I think as well it's about politics.
In addition, I'm sure charities like Shelter already have kind of mechanisms in place to.
Well, either or would be non-discriminatory.
In addition to your first point about the why not just give coins, so the point was we could live in a society where that's just not, you don't have coins anymore, you don't necessarily have them. So we're preemptively solving a problem for moving to a society where the majority of transactions are contactless. Cash is just it's not a thing so much.
By having these digital cards in place as well, we can reduce crime. And the guys who sit on the street who maybe aren't homeless, they're just there as a business. It's not worth their while to go and redeem these vouchers. So instead of taking that cash, that card just gets thrown away and gets put in the fund. So the money's always going to go to something positive. Thank you.
Any questions from the audience?
I think what a really interesting new model of fundraising, which could be used anywhere for anything. I think one of the things which is driving donors these days, crowdfunding and people, is to be able to interact with the donators. So you clearly thought about, yes, it's not only a transaction, but people feedback. Do you think homelessness is the best place to target it? Or actually, have you come up with a fundraising model that might be used elsewhere?
Well, I think the technology, that we've tackled a particular problem with it, but we do realise, without getting too distracted in 75 hours, that it does have applications elsewhere. This is a problem. Cashlessness is going to be a problem for a lot of people, whether it be charities collecting small donations of coins,
I mean, it's not a one or the other thing. If we solve the problem for homelessness, it doesn't mean you can't apply lessons elsewhere.
And it doesn't mean we need to be the ones to do that. If we start a new model, other people can take that other places.
Sending kids to school, changing the product.
I think I guess that already exists in the form of like prepaid debit cards and that kind of thing. It's similar, but I guess this removes the need for kind of a bank account or anything of that sort.
It's even the form of those charity buckets you have at tills. Like you just put your spare change in anyway. So imagine if that was just contactless point. So the difference between like someone being 980, that 20p was automatically contactlessly put into that charity bucket. The possibilities are kind of endless, and implementation is something that society as a whole could work on. But we as a team, we feel as though the homeless need it. Why not give it to them?
It's an exciting new concept, and the fact that there's no technology around the homeless right now, especially because the theme is digital participation and inclusion, it's a great audience to address. Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Now we are going to select the winner for Product Forge 4. Everyone in the room, you should have a badge. What we would like you to do, first of all, you'll notice there's a bit of feedback, there's a bit of a feedback form on there. If you could fill that in if you're happy to endorse Product Forge, what we've done here over the last weekend. And just write the name of your company or institution at the top. The second thing is to write the name of the team at the top that you believe should be selected to be the winner for Product Forge. Now this is just one part of the selection process. It's just one element of it. But we have some Sharpies over here. So if you'd like to come around, write the team at the top and hand in your card. The panel and the lead mentor, Darren, if I could just get you guys around the back and we'll have a chat as well. We'll take about, we're trying not to take more than 10-15 minutes over this, and then we'll come back. I've got some announcements to make, so please don't leave before we've announced the winner.
Give it to the next person.
It votes what you've and feedback, what you filled out in here. I'll bring you a beer.
Yeah, I guess.
What's the level of the last team?
Change categories. I would think.
You guys get to know as well, so it's last one was shouldn't be voting for yourselves. This is only a very small part of the selection, so you're not really going to be able to swing it.
Anyone need a Sharpie?
Yeah, everyone else.
No. Yeah, if you like.
I was thinking very good at it.
Do you think might be one of the No, only if there's a split decision. Many people start
I said I'd work office today, no, I can't make it. It makes me sleep, the caffeine. Then you want to take a coffee for I used to take a coffee for
Well, I think you're like the last person who's on notice. No pressure, but that would count.
I can get this now. I guess it's probably 10 seconds. It wouldn't look good. That's why I don't want to be There's the only thing I can say. Just the everybody gave the cards.
This is only for
yeah, we're going. I can see the design, the sticker.
It's a very bad day today. I'm looking at a couple of sentences about signs. My brother's. So, I don't know, like. We'll see, you never know. I don't really just think like the reason I was yes, sorry. How are you? No, it's good.
I don't know if I was really wrong.
Everybody does. Yeah, so I just thought it was like a technically, I didn't think it was doing I spent the whole day writing a track. I have a couple of business so I'm basically just going to short myself. I didn't realize this was just going to work, so it's kind of I think it's well students. They say I was better than 40. So I was getting very important stuff, but I just realized that it's not the best stuff together. Writing in English something that looks as cool as it sounds in it's not exactly. English English was very difficult. You end up using 1 million times the word amazing, incredible, extremely, which is not very cool. Which is like beat, old-fashioned, manual, only complex, this kind of stuff. Accustomed to kind of, old-fashioned stuff. So I just realized that it was extremely this kind of stuff. Fingers crossed.
You go around the room? Yeah, just go in the room. Cool, just don't in the room. Which is not I can tell them the
clear grammar.
No, hang on, just give me 1 second. One of these, right? Let me go with this one. Sorry? What did I vote for?
I can't be seen to have favourites, being maternal. To try to say this. They're pretty good. Good idea. And really developed the idea of it like this weekend. I didn't even they took them until like lunchtime on Saturday to come up with it. So very yeah, I think they had quite a big problem as well with like buying alcohol, cigarettes and whatnot, but we're making a pragmatic decision to say like, okay, you're not going to be able to buy anything that's age restricted, which is fair enough, because like if you're trying to get rid of the moral hazard of everyone, then it does work. Are you here or just on Saturday? Friday? So what do you do when you're here at all? So long ago. Today's Monday. Saturday? Well, what do you mean? Today's inclusive? On Saturday, right? Yeah. Oh, cool. What to get around? What was that? Project War.
Yeah, I was looking into
It's the solutions.
Nearly there. Oh my goodness, we're still being like this.
Uh-oh. Turn it off, turn it off.
I thought I could do a lot of this.
Have you been involved? Just repeat that for the microphone in case it capture it.
I don't think we actually said anything there.
Not as if we have anything interesting to say anyway.
Hi everyone, we're just about to announce the winner for Product Forge 4. Just before I run through thank yous and everything that we need to do and announce the winner, I'd just like to put the floor to Alexander to say a few words.
Thanks very much. First of all, could you all give yourselves a round of applause? 4 weeks ago, I attended an event called Pitch at Palace. It's where a lot of very seasoned entrepreneurs go up and pitch their businesses in 3 minutes. Some of those businesses have been around 2-3 years. What we as a judging team observed today are businesses, potential businesses that have been around for 3 days. So the efforts that you have put in is absolutely astounding. And I would say this is one of my proudest days in government to see what has come out today. Because we chose a subject around digital participation. We didn't choose something fancy, we chose something that was actually tackling some of the fundamental issues of our society. And I think you all came up with something that was really, really good. So, today's been a great day. So thank you from us. Everyone is a winner in this room. And what I'd say is that whatever the outcome of today, that you think about what happens over the next 4 weeks, should we say, 4 to 5 weeks. So the offer that I'm wanting to put to everyone in the room is that you come back around about towards the end of November and you represent. And this time the stakes will be a little higher. There may even be some cash involved. And the offer we put out is, in that intervening time, why don't you come in to VQ and have another chat with us about some of our impressions around what we've observed today, and then potentially come back in another 2 weeks just to see how you've got on, and then present towards the end of November at a date TBC. So think about that, because every one of these deserves further thought. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand back to Alan and then we'll announce them.
So before we announce the winner, there's a lot of people I need to say thank you for. Events like this don't just happen in the spur of a moment. It's been our first event for a year. It's been fun. It has at times been grueling, but it's certainly been one of the most rewarding. One of our past participants said that we were the hackathon with a twist, and I hope that we delivered on this occasion. Our next event is going to be in January, so I'd love all of you guys to come back and try again if you want to, but what we really like is for past participants to come and get involved in the organisation of the next event, either volunteering, mentoring the next crop of startups that come through. I need to do some thank yous to our supporters. First of all, Giovanni from We Are the Future. Giovanni, thank you very much. We Are the Future are offering free tickets to Startup Summit to the winning team, so thank you very much and thanks for the shout outs. I'd like to thank the Scottish Institute for Enterprise. They support student entrepreneurs and enterprise, and they've been absolutely fantastic supporters to us over the last year and getting the word out about our events, so thank you very much to them. To Red Bull UK for all of this Red Bull. We've gone through a lot of Red Bull, I have to say, and we needed it over the last 75 hours. Thank you to Harveston. They are actually going to be providing some free beer to the winner as well. Thank you to our sponsors. First of all to Scotland IS, the trade body for Scotland's ICT industry. I'd encourage you to connect with Scotland IS. They have a fantastic network and they support startups just like you guys. Shelter Scotland, the Housing and Homelessness Charity, they delivered a presentation on Friday, and they've also been mentoring across the weekend. So thank you to them, and obviously a huge thank you to the Scottish Government and to Alexander for everything, for all the support, without which this event would not be possible. A couple of special mentions. The Internet of Things meetup will be running at TechCube on Thursday, and the winning team is invited to come to that meetup and pitch. A special mention to TechCube, where we were based. TechCube is Edinburgh's first privately funded and community-run technology incubator, and what we're going to be offering the winning team is 1 month co-working at TechCube. I want to thank our mentors, in particular, well, all of the mentors. Can I get a show of hands, the mentors that are here tonight? Thank you very much. In particular to Darren, who's given up a huge chunk of his weekend to be with you and to support you through this process. Thank you. Thank you to, a special thanks to Steve Perry, who's unfortunately not here, but he was also up from London. He gave up a big booking day to be with us as well. Huge thank you to my team.
Yay!
Special thanks to Ben, who's come all the way up from London to help out. Special thanks to Linda, who's passed up other opportunities to be involved in this event. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you to all of the people who participated and put so much time into this event. Thank you very much. And finally, on to our winner. Our winner will get 1 month co-working at TechCube, free tickets to Startup Summit, an opportunity to pitch at the meetup this week, and that case of Schiehallion right there. Okay.
Thank you, Alan.
Which was the first item on my... Thank you, Mike. Symbiotic thinking as ever. So obviously we were asked to look at both business case and in terms of the prototype we saw today. So we just have a winner, but I emphasize to the runners-up, you know, this is not the end of the road for you guys at all. Take me seriously on that. But in terms of what we saw today and how you've come on, where you've come from over the past 3 days, the winner is changing.
Cool.
Okay, we can, let's go to the pub. Before you go, a couple of things. We'd like a photo of our winners, and then I'd like a photo of every single person in this room. So first of all, our winners.
Which one? There's the videos. It's good.
All right, don't. I want everyone up for a photo.
We should like have some people at the front as well, otherwise
just lie right across the front.
Yeah. Hello.
Thank you. You're welcome.
We need to speak to you.
That's what it's about. It stacks up, so you have layers of people with 3 things.
End of November is a month.
Wait.
Wait, where are we looking?
I'm getting a call.
Just one final announcement for everyone. We have got a room reserved at the Carriers Quarter, which is just a pub just around the corner. So if you'd like to head there now for a drink, let's have a chat.
Alan.
All right.
All the way from London.
Yeah. Not Mr. Product Forward yet. Not Mr. Product Forward yet, even though I'm all the way down there. So. Huh? What I do? I mean, I've only been there for a few months. London.
Your face is like
I've been all round. I was in North London. What really helps you go smart Okay. 6 months ago, so I've been there.